Okay, now this type effect gives the illusion of a unique style of plastic, and it's probably not the plastic type that you're used to seeing on the web and everywhere. It just has, it's a little different, and I really liked it, and I thought you would too, and so I decided to go ahead and include it on the CD. But this lesson works best up to 150 dpi. Anything over that, the fragment filter works a little differently, so I'm not sure it's going to come out the same as it would at 150 dpi or at 72 dpi. But let's go ahead and get started. Just come right up here to File and select New. And for the width, let's go ahead and just put in here 600. And for the height, that's going to be 350. And resolution 72. Color mode, RGB color. And the background contents, don't worry about that for right about now. We're going to go ahead and change that. So when you have all that, just go ahead and click OK. And I'll go ahead and center that in the image there. And then click on the foreground color, and we're just going to set the color for the background here. I'm just going to make some weird purplish blue color here. And it needs to be like a medium color, not something too light, not something too dark. I'm just going to put in here 7258A2, and that'll give me that unique, kind of a cool looking purple color there. All right. And next, let's go ahead and switch to the channels palette. And go ahead and down to the bottom of the channels palette and make a new channel. And then next we need to create our text for this channel. And make sure the foreground color is white. If it's not white, press D and X on the keyboard. Or actually press X and D to make sure, alternate those keys just until you get the foreground color white. But after that, I'm going to go ahead and select the horizontal type tool and click on the image and make your type fairly large. That way, you can really see the detail and stuff in the plastic. And so I'm going to come in here and just put in dBm. Make that lowercase dBm, which is just dBm's the abbreviation for my website, Designs by Mark. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And when I have that typed in there, I'm going to go ahead and press Enter. And then select the rectangular marquee tool and just position that type there right in the middle there of the channel of the image. And then I'm going to go ahead and press the Enter key. And then I'll just go up here to select, deselect. And now let's duplicate that Alpha 1 channel that we created. So drag that to the new channel icon at the bottom, new channel button down here at the bottom. And when you're right on top of that, go ahead and release the mouse, and that'll make a copy, and it will become Alpha 1 copy now. Okay? And then now go ahead and click on, or make sure Alpha 1 copy is activated. Then come up here to Filter, Blur, and go to Gaussian Blur. And for the amount, enter in about 4. You can just put 4 there. And that'll give us a nice smooth edge to create our plastic effect here. And after that, go ahead and click OK. And then next, go up here to Image, Adjustments, Curves, right here. And then this is sort of an interesting, can be a little tricky at first, but select the pencil down here on the Curves dialog. Select the pencil, and then we're going to use the pencil, and we're going to draw this line, and it's going to come up here at the very top, and then it's going to come down, and then it's going to go right back up again. Pretty easy to do, just like a nice wavy line. And that's going to make us have this outer, almost looks like an outer stroke around our text. And then that's going to be separate from the type or from the lettering inside. So that's the kind of effect that we want. If it looks just like that, if yours just looks just like that, and go ahead and click OK. And then after that, you can go up here to Image, Adjustments, and right where it says Levels. And what we're going to do is just flatten out the type a little bit. And you can see it's a little fuzzy around the edges. So all we need to do is just we're going to move the gray. Let's see the middle arrow slider here. We're going to move that, and also the white slider on the right here. And we're going to move that in a little bit, that white slider, and then I'm going to move that gray one in a little bit. And you can see the edges start to get a little smoother, a little more rounded. And that's what we want. That's the kind of effect that we want. That looks pretty good. Let's see, this is before and this is after, and that's perfect. So if you have it just like that, go ahead and click OK. And now hold down the Control key on the keyboard, and on the Mac that is the Command key, and go ahead and click on Alpha 1 Copy, and to load it as a selection. Now let's go up here to Filter and come down here to Pixelate and select Fragment. And this will help us create our plastic effect. And then we can go ahead and just select a selection, come up here to Select and then Deselect. And now switch back to the Layers palette over here, and then click on the background to activate it, and then make a new layer at the bottom of the Layers palette, and then come up here to Select, Load Selection, and then from the channel menu here, I want you to select the Alpha 1 Copy layer, or the Alpha 1 Copy channel, and then click OK to load that. And now go up here to Edit, Fill, and from the Contents, and where it says Use, make sure that's set to white at the very bottom there. And then it's 100% for opacity, and go ahead and click OK. And then now we can go ahead and deselect our selection, come up here to Select and Deselect. Now I recommend making a sort of like a medium drop shadow to the text just to make it pop out of the background a little bit. I'll just come up here to Layer, Layer Style, and select Drop Shadow. And just, the default setting might actually work just fine. Let's see here. For a real cool effect, you can actually make the drop shadow color similar to the color of the background. I can come in here and use the color picker, click on the background, it'll sample that color, and then I can just go ahead and make that a little darker. It's like the same color, close to the same color, but just a little darker. And then I'll go ahead and click OK, and then you can adjust the opacity a little bit, and you can just play around with the distance and until you get it just right. There we go, looks pretty good, and I'll go ahead and just click OK. And then now we're going to work on the texture for the plastic. So go ahead and make a new layer. And let's go up here to Select, Load a Selection, and from the channel area, I want you to select Alpha 1 this time. Okay, and then go ahead and click OK. And then now let's feather the edges. Come up here to Select, Feather, and enter in about 2. And then go ahead and click OK, and then come up here to Edit, down here to Fill, and we're going to fill that with 100% white, so it should be set up just the same as the last time we used the fill. And so go ahead and click OK. And then I want you to come up here to Filter, and then we're going to come down here to Stylize and select Wind. And make sure Stagger is dotted and direction is from the left. That's selected there, and go ahead and click OK. And there we go. After that, come right over to that layer. I'll come over the Layers palette, and then from the Layer Blending Modes menu, I want you to select Soft Light, and that'll blend that texture right in. You see that? Isn't that neat? Look around the edges here. It's just beautiful. I love that effect. And now we're going to add some fog to the plastic just to make it a little more realistic. Make a new layer above the wind filter layer there, and then go back up to Filter, and actually before you do that, make sure the foreground color is white and the background color is black. And in order to do that, you can just press D and X on the keyboard. That'll go ahead and get that just perfect like we want it. Foreground white, background black. And then after that, just come up here to Filter and just go down to Render and select Clouds. And then I'll just apply the Clouds filter. And then after you've done that, you can come over to the Layer Blending Modes menu and select Lighten from that menu there. And look at that. And then just come right up here to Select and deselect the selection. And there you go. Check it out. Now, have you ever seen plastic type like that before? Come on. But the clouds on bolder letters might seem a little too heavy. But experiment by turning down the opacity of the clouds layer to 50, and you might get different results. If you have really thin typefaces, or if you have really thick typefaces, you just might need to do just a few fine adjustments to make it look just like this. But this is pretty much the result. Now you can go out there and impress your graphic design friends.